You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacqueline connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacqueline.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome. Happy Friday. It's nice to have you back with us. This is our fourth show today, and it just keeps getting better. This is Rapping with Dr. Jacqueline, stories of hope, inspiration, and overcoming adversity. I am your host and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. I am a certified life, career, yoga, and meditation coach. This show is all about sharing stories of resilience, and we are live streaming on Business Talk Radio and social media. My guest today is an executive coach. Her name is Jenifer Madson, and she's joining us from Florida. Let's bring her out to the program. Hi, Jenifer.
Hello. How are you?
Great. It's so nice to see you. And I love the turquoise in the background and the turquoise you're wearing.
It's very Florida.
It's inspirational, just like this show. It makes you feel good.
Thank you.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? You and I were chatting before the program, and you've been an executive coach for a number of years. You have a lot of experience, and you started another platform about a year ago. So I'm going to spotlight you. And why don't you just tell us who you are and what it is you do?
Absolutely. So I started my coaching business back in 2003. And very soon after I started it, it was pretty early on in the whole evolution of coaching, if you will. I didn't start out as an executive coach, but I became one very soon after because of some people that became clients early on. And in that period of time, then since then, I created Mindful Leaders Academy, where we get very focused within high level, high demand corporate environments to help those high performing executives be the most mindful, impactful leaders they can be. So I do a lot of work with them on mindful behavior and communication. We don't ever say soft skills, for example. We talk about people savvy, because the more I can empower them with an understanding of the people around them, the better they can lead, the better they can figure out how to get the best from the teams that they lead. So I've had that firm, like I said, for quite a long time now. I've worked with the NBA, Girl Scouts, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Prudential, some really amazing companies and amazing individuals within those companies. Last year, middle of COVID, I also decided that I wanted to work with badass women around the world and highlight their magnificence, highlight their brilliance. So I started an online coaching community for badass women called Badassbabes. And we are helping them go from what now to what next, whatever crossroads they're in. We're helping them figure that out for their life so they can get to what's next and really bring their big visions to life. So that is what I'm up to.
Thank you for sharing that. And congratulations on all your success. You know, we hear a lot of times people are coaches, right? But then they're here and then they're gone. It just didn't work out. And you've survived the test of time, and you've worked with some huge corporations. That's incredible.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think some of that has to do with continuing to say yes. So as I said, I didn't start out as an executive coach. I actually started out as a financial coach to help individuals and couples get better with their relationship with money because of some, my own history and changing my money story and my relationship with money. And the next thing I knew, I had a partner from a very high level firm that came to me and said, "Hey, I'm a partner now. I'm making more money I've ever made in my life. How do I manage this?" And my interaction with him led to the corporate work, which led to everything. I mean, I think I owe him everything.
And I love the fact that it was a man who came to you, as you know, because that's unusual. I think in some ways, it's always women trying to help women, especially when it comes to the financial piece of it. And the fact that you're the expert is really amazing. We've got a comment, and I want to share this because this is a fan of our show, Mitchell. He's back. So he was at our other shows, and we love having you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we were talking before the show, and during the pandemic, you started this Badassbabes, which is truly commendable. And I'm wondering if you would share with our audience what it took for you during a time when so many people's lives were changing. You decided to take something else on during a time of uncertainty. So what was that like, and why did you decide to do it?
It was a combination of actually a lot of things. And I've learned over the years that I need to pay very close attention to the urgings of my soul, if you will. And sometimes it shows up as aggravation, and sometimes it shows up as inspiration. But when something's nagging at me in some way, I've learned to pay very close attention to that. And what was happening is that in the midst of COVID, there were certainly some shifts within the corporate framework, but most of my work there continued, thankfully. But at the same time, I was going through a personal metamorphosis of sorts. I had moved back to Florida the year before. It really, Jacqueline, it started with my hair. My hair was dyed, colored, and I had kept it that way for a really long time, and I was tired of it. In the middle of COVID, I was like, no one cares about my hair. And I really want to stop fighting this. And I really want to stop not just coloring my hair, but covering up, like buying into all of these messages of, I got to have it brown in order to be relevant to my younger clients. And, it's going to age me and all this other nonsense that gets piled on with that. And I literally, like in the middle of COVID, had a serious case of the F-its and said, I'm going to let it go. So I let it go. And the very same week that I was going in to get all the rest of the dye chopped out and ended up with this, that very same week I was with an entrepreneurs group that I'm part of, a mastermind group. And we were talking about some of the frustrations of COVID and the shifts in our landscapes. And I think the question was, if you could do anything, what would you be doing? And literally when it came around to me, I said, I would be working with badass babes that are really up to some stuff in the world. And it was such a moment of truth. And it was such those were the words that came out of my mouth that I was like, oh, perhaps I should do something with that. I started to research, and literally within 24 hours, I had the website and the URL, and the idea was forming to do that because it felt like a very strong urging of my soul to do that.
First of all, thank you so much for that transparency and that share. I mean, you look beautiful. I love your hair. I actually love the color of it. But as a woman, I can imagine, what that process is like when, so I color my own hair and I cut my own hair, and I stopped going to salons a long time ago. But for me to think to let it go, I don't know what it would look like. And you did it, and you look beautiful. So
thank you. It really is that, right? So I made this decision, and what was holding me back were all of these other preconceived notions, not the least of which was, what will people think? You know what? People really aren't thinking about my hair. Turns out. And once I did it, people were like, oh my God, it's gorgeous. And look at you. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it looks very healthy. It's got a great shine to it.
Yeah, follow your heart and your head.
Go for it. I love it. I love when people come on the show and they're authentic and they share. So this show is stories of hope, inspiration, and overcoming adversity. And I'd love, after that transparent share, if you would share something either in the lines of hope, inspiration, or adversity that you've overcome.
I would absolutely be happy to do that. And the biggest part of my story was getting sober 35 and a half years ago. So I was addicted to drugs and alcohol. And when I was just shy of my 24th birthday, I got sober through a 12-step program, and I've been clean and sober ever since. Now, I didn't just wake up one day and go, gee, I should stop killing myself with alcohol. It was really a series of events that led to realizing that I had a problem with it and realizing that I needed to do something with it. And I was back in college at the time. And actually, my mother had gotten sober the year before me. And I was crying about how all my friends drank. And she said, maybe go check out Al-Anon. She's crafty, though, because she also sent me a brochure about young people in 12-step programs. And when that showed up, literally in my dorm room, I'm reading this brochure that says if you can answer 5 out of these 20 questions, chances are you have a problem with alcohol. And Jacqueline, I just burst into tears. It was talk about a moment of truth, right? Like that was the original moment of truth for me. And every time since then that I've had these big soul openings where I'm like, oh, truthful time. I've followed that to a better end. And so I ended up going to a 12-step meeting and honestly, I just hid when I wasn't in classes. I was in that little room, going to meetings and hanging on. I used to smoke like a fiend. And I'm like, I don't care, just as long as I don't drink again, or pick up another drug. And by the grace of whatever God is, and literally in that period of time, you can imagine 35 and a half years, thousands of people all over the world. Everywhere I've gone, there has been a group of people that's willing to meet to support ongoing sobriety, and nothing in my life is possible without it. Nothing. So that was the biggest climb for sure.
Oh, I'm so touched that you shared that. I have little tears in my eyes. I have to get it together, but that's incredible. That's so. And I want to say hello to Ben Chai, who likes the video, and also to Mohammed Shorfi, who's watching, and to Hudson Whalen, and to Lewis Jeffrey. Sorry. What you've done, what you're doing, helping other people, getting the word out, not keeping what you went through to yourself is truly tremendous. We have a comment from Ben. Love your authenticity. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much, Ben. I appreciate that very much. I was told that we're only as sick as our secrets. And I had a lot of secrets. I had a lot of shame. I had a lot of, again, I was really young, but I also started drinking really young, and it almost killed me. And so I just kept believing that the people who were helping me saw more for me than I could see for myself. And I allowed it. And even today, Jacqueline, I talk to clients, executive and otherwise. I don't always share my recovery story with executive clients. I do when I know it'll be helpful. I don't ever hold back on it either, but I don't lead with it. But we talk about that what's bigger than the law of attraction is the law of allowance, because I had all kinds of great stuff that came my way. And until I got to a point where I not only saw that you saw something for me, but that I allowed that, and then I could go, oh, Jacqueline has this strong belief in me. Okay, I think I'll go follow that. And that led me to finish school and go into sales and build businesses and get married. And yeah, I got divorced, but I also did so in a way that through all those ups and downs, I didn't have to drink. I didn't have to get high. I could be sad without being sick over it. And that came from all of that support. It was extraordinary.
That is extraordinary. And now you're helping other people. You're giving back constantly. And you are a beautiful person.
Thank you. Thank you. Very grateful.
And I'm grateful that you're here, and I'm grateful that you shared your story with us. We need to take a break and hear from some of our sponsors, so stay with us. We're going to hear from Ralph Graves Jr. We're going to hear from Concentric. We're going to hear from Brand and Cultural Alignment Toolkit, and we're also going to hear from Academy Sedan and Limo. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with Jenifer Madson.
Hey everybody, my name is Ralph Graves Jr. I'm the host of the Ralph Graves Jr. Show, and I want to invite you to pick up my book, Unstoppable. I wrote a book called Unstoppable. It's 7 universal laws that will transform how you pursue and achieve success. The one thing that my 20 years of law enforcement has taught me is that no matter who you are, we are all governed by universal laws, like gravity. But in this book, we're going to talk about laws like the law of forgiveness, laws like the law of control, the law of intelligent practice, the law of expectancy. I was able to see how those, no matter what their background was, those who identified and treated these laws with respect, they were able to go on and lead successful lives. So pick up this book, and you can go ahead and pick it up at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, RalphGravesJr.com, where anywhere where fine books are sold. Thank you.
There are 7.7 billion people on Earth today. 40% of these people are under the age of 25. Young adults are the most fertile mission field in the world today. In Scripture, we see Jesus pouring his life into 12 young adults who he equipped to change the world and all of history. Like Jesus, we believe that the best approach to reach the world with the gospel is to invest in young, emerging leaders and equip them to build disciple-making movements. Concentric is the notion of surrounding and sharing a common center. Our center is the model and strategy of Jesus for both leadership development and ministry formation. As a global alliance, we provide equipping in biblical leadership based on Jesus' example in the New Testament. Jesus modeled for us how to make disciples that reproduce. Focusing on leadership development is key to creating movements that spread the gospel and Jesus' disciple-making strategy to young leaders around the globe. Our Ministry Alliance partners are actively equipping leaders and building movements of multiplication that reproduce the life of Christ. Join us today to equip young leaders with Jesus' strategy that will change cities and nations.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Academy Sedan and Limo is a full-service transportation company serving the Philadelphia metropolitan area with full knowledge of the New York City, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. areas. We pride ourselves on being the most dependable, conscientious company in the industry. Our always on-time service and dependable pricing make us the company to call for any event or occasion. Our vehicles can accommodate any size party for any occasion. Our vehicles range from four-door sedans to SUVs to minivans to limo buses to full-size tour buses and can accommodate groups of 2 to 100. We offer airport shuttle service or over-the-road service without limitation regarding mileage or time, and no drive is too long or too far. So if you find yourself in need of transportation of any type with any vehicle, give us a call at 610-842-4564 and let us show you what a real transportation company can do for you.
Use code ACADEMY2020 to receive 20% off your first 3 rides, including parking and tolls.
Ladies and gentlemen, and here it is, the most notorious show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacqueline, stories of hope, inspiration, and overcoming adversity. I want to say hello to John Peters, who's watching us on Facebook. My guest today is amazing, beautiful inside and out, and just shared her story of becoming sober, 35 years of sobriety. So again, thank you for that. So Jenifer, it couldn't have been easy, and I don't know if you were able to do it without falling off the wagon, so to speak. But there are people out there now watching this program. Maybe they're watching today. Maybe they'll watch in the future. You're beautiful. You're successful, and they're thinking, they're where you were. So what would you say to them? I'm sure it's not easy. So how do you set the stage for, here are the steps that I took, maybe this is what you could do also?
Everybody's story is different. And one of the most challenging parts of addiction, especially for families of those of us who are, when we're in our addiction, is like, how bad does it have to get for somebody to stop? It has to get as bad as it has to get. And that changes for each person, right? So I would say, for the person who might be listening today and wonder if you have a problem with alcohol, you have a problem with drugs, if you rely too much on that for your happiness, for your maintenance of your life, etc., reach out for help. Now, look, I got a super strong 12-step bias. It's where I started. I didn't know any place else to go. They saved my life. They've saved millions of other lives. That's the thing that I know and love and would absolutely recommend. And there are other ways to get sober too. And at the end of the day, it costs nothing to reach out and talk to somebody, talk to a mental health professional, a substance abuse professional, whatever, because it doesn't matter the label, problem drinker, alcoholic, substance, I'll put all that ego stuff aside. If it's managing your life in a way that doesn't support your beautiful self and your magic in the world, reach out and talk to somebody about it, because there are definitely options for treating it. There are. And what's on the other side of that, like early on, they used to talk about walking through the fire. And I put that in one of the books that I wrote. I wrote a book of meditations for people in recovery. And I talked about walking through the fire. You can't jump over it. You can't dig under it. You can't run around it. You got to walk through it one step at a time. And what you find on the way and on the other side of that is more glorious than you can even imagine, when you get to see who you really are and what's really possible for your life. But you do not have to go it alone.
That was really moving. Thank you. I want to dig a little deeper in that. So I have 3 autoimmune illnesses, and I've spent a lot of my life living in shame because of one of them's ulcerative colitis, and didn't even talk about it for long, until 2 years ago, really. So my point is that people want to get clean. They want to be well. They want to get help, but yet there's that wall of shame, that wall of fear. How do you get through it?
Don't try to go it alone. I mean, I really can't emphasize that enough. What stops us from getting the help that will save our lives is nothing more than an ego mechanism. And if you can put that aside, if you can reach out to the people, reach out to somebody closest to you, if that feels the safest. That's what I did when I reached out to my mom. And actually, I wasn't even asking the right questions at that point. When I asked her for help, it sounded like, hey, Mom, how do I get all my friends to stop drinking? She was like, maybe that's not really the problem. But it was who I reached out to. You can reach out to a complete stranger if that feels safer somehow to have the conversation. Just don't try to go it alone, because you don't have to. And the shame of reaching out and getting through it, I can promise you, is way less than the shame of staying in it and having the ramifications of it.
So right now, wherever you are, whoever you are, if you feel that you need some help, please make a phone call, ask a friend, go to an AA meeting, get on a group, the support group. So just don't go it alone, to Jenifer's point. So thank you again, Jenifer, for that.
You're so welcome.
So when it comes to rebuilding ourselves, whatever it is we're going through, what role do you think coaching has in that?
Well, I've had a coach since before I became a coach. And the closest I had to that prior to actually hiring a professional, business coach, was the sponsorship that I had in recovery. Somebody who was sponsor / mentor / helping me on that road, which is a lot of what I see for, the role of coaching today. I have hired coaches for general life situations, for specific business purposes, for fitness. I believe it is the coach's job. I certainly believe this for myself. As a coach, I believe it's my job to create a very objective space to see what is, not better than, not worse than, not tied up in whether I like it, don't like it. So as objective as I can, help my client become as objective as possible to see what is, so we can figure out the next right thing to do with it. And then do that again and again. So part of that in mindful leaders coaching is about helping people just pause. For gosh sakes, just step back from all of the wildness of your mind and your world. Doesn't it feel good? Like, just take a big old deep breath. Now let's just see what is. Not what we feel about it. What is it? And then let's figure out what we can do with it. And sometimes that's an internal figuring out. Sometimes it's an external practical resource problem, right? That we go and fix in that way. But it's a guide. It's opening the possibilities for someone, and just being in that opportunity to look from the outside and say, how about?
What does the process look like to work with you? Does one apply, or how does that work?
Well, it depends on what we're doing, right? So the people who work with me privately, that are executives or entrepreneurs, my private clients, they come to me, Jen at mindfulleaders.com, and we set up a time to have a 30-minute clarity call. Like, what are you looking for? What do you really, really want? And what's getting in the way of it? Can I help? Am I the right person? Am I the right approach? If it's a career conversation, we're probably going to talk very specifically about presence and brand and mindful communication and behavioral styles and adaptation. I have a whole curriculum of 12 subjects that we can go into, and a whole bunch of other ones on top of that. If it's an entrepreneur, we'll talk more about who's your client, what's your magic, how do we get that into the world, the messaging of that, how do we actually allow that for that person, and then very practically put it together. I would say that, and I certainly don't have a lock on this, Jacqueline, but my approach is this brilliant, if I could do say so myself, combination of profound and practical. I'm all for spiritual. I'm all for a little bit of woo-woo thrown in with a whole lot of, now we're going to go to work. And it's not always going to be pretty, and it's not always going to be easy. And sometimes it's going to be messy and frustrating, but the results will be so worth getting to on the other side of that. So yes, people email me, we get on a call and figure out if we're a fit.
It sounds so easy, so I don't know why anybody wouldn't do it.
I think people are afraid, like, they don't want to be sold, number one. They know they want something. Lots of people, being in the coaching world, as you and I are, we have such an understanding of it. Sometimes I forget that there are a lot of people out there who've never had a coach. They don't even really know what one does. So to reach out and say, I think I might want one, but I'm not sure. It's a big deal. It's a big leap. And
then in addition to that, they have to be committed to doing the work, because my mom has an expression. She said, if I only had a magic wand, but there is no magic wand, right?
Or fairy dust.
There's no fairy dust.
There's no fairy dust.
Yeah, you have to make a commitment to want to change and to be willing to do the work, and have someone like you guide.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, I think that clarity call is really so fantastic for deciding whether or not we're a fit. I am just as willing to say, you know what, I am not your coach, as I want the other person to say, this is not really exactly what I'm looking for, because the only way to figure that out is to be in that conversation.
And I know I right now have 6 coaches, each for something different. And what I have learned about myself, what I've learned about business, what I've learned about media, I never would have known just trying to go it myself. So I think whether it's you're struggling to find sobriety, or you're starting a business, or you're trying to figure yourself out, or you have some kind of chronic illness, by speaking to someone who's already been where you want to go, they're going to help you like you are going to help someone all along the way.
Oh, the momentum you can get from that is extraordinary, right? Like it will accelerate your journey like crazy if you do the work.
Right, if you do the work. So we have more to talk about. We're going to take a break. I'm going to play a clip from a gentleman I interviewed earlier today. His name is Philip Westerlin, and he is a circular business executive. So he's a young man who's getting his master's degree in psychology, and he started a company called Our Choice Fashion, and he provides circular sneakers. So let's take a look at this, and then we'll be back to talk to Jenifer.
When all my broken sneakers started to pile up in the wardrobe, I realized that we have a problem. Sneakers are made from plastics, and plastic is not mendable. My name is Philip, and I'm one of the founders of Our Choice Fashion. How many times did this happen to you? How can eco sneakers save the world when they break after only a few months and we have to buy pair after pair that breaks? We are here to give you the solution, a choice for truly sustainable fashion in the world's first circular sneakers. On average, we all buy 3 pairs of sneakers each and every year. This adds up to 25 billion sneakers per year, of which most end up in landfills. This adds up to 350 million tons of CO2 emissions, the same amount as for the country of Italy or the state of California. So we started to develop a product that would have all the old-fashioned qualities. It is mendable, it has a classic design, and it has a natural comfort. Because we chose the best designer there is, Mother Nature. The sneakers get more and more comfortable the more you wear them. Made from vegetable tan leather and natural latex from the rubber tree, the sneakers are both sustainable and comfortable. These sneakers are made from pure raw materials that are both fully biodegradable and fully recyclable. The best thing here really is that when your sneakers need an upgrade, you just send them right back to us using the same bag that you got them delivered in. We then resole your sneakers, put on a fresh pair of laces, and give them a nice new polish. This means that you can wear your sneakers for many years to come. Our sneakers are more than sneakers. They are a circular function, and we developed a smart pull for you to step into your sneakers without stepping down the heel. This means that you get a truly sustainable grip. We've got a fully circular business model, and that's why we'll only produce sneakers on your demand. Book your product now and get that sustainable grip at a discount. We've been on this amazing journey for 2 years, and now we're inviting you to also make a choice for truly sustainable fashion. Try the world's first circular sneakers, 100% plastic free, and I can promise you that our choice will be your companion for many years to come.
This is a show about hope, inspiration, and overcoming adversity. And when I see what Philip is doing and I watch that ad, I feel inspired. And as a result of him being on the show today, we had someone who's going to invest in his business. We have a global leader in TV and media who's going to host his program. So you never know what can happen, but thanks for taking a look at that. That's Philip Westerlin. So Jenifer, back to you. Let's talk more about this Badass Babes. This Badass Babes. I love saying that out loud and on TV. Badass Babes. Yes. So when someone is a member of Badass Babes, what are they going to experience? What's going to happen?
Well, the membership is based on a community model that also contains my Badass Blueprint course. The blueprint takes somebody from this crossroads they might be feeling they're at in their life, like that kind of, I'm at a crossroads with my career, my health, my my business, my relationships, what now, and helps them gain some really fast, solid clarity. And once they have that clarity, the confidence starts to come, right? A lot of people think that first I need to get confident and then I'll find clarity. And I'm telling you, it's just the opposite. Let's get some clarity about what's actually bothering you, and what you think you might want. And as soon as they start to like drop into that, then we get to the next place of the confidence of like, okay, so we'll go from what now to what's next. And then we take them through my blueprint of imagining, using their own brilliance, plus what they know, plus how they serve, how do they want to have an impact in the world. And then we go into aligning people, resources, skills to make that happen, and then mapping the actual path for bringing that vision to life. So there's a lot of vision work, a lot of conversation in my master classes around how to rise above the dull noise into a more brilliant, not just vision, but conversation about what's possible in your world, whatever this process is. We have a Facebook group, a private membership Facebook group. I started this only, about 6 months ago with a core group of women. It hasn't been opened up to the masses quite yet, although it's available through our link today in your show, Jacqueline. I had a core group of women who came together to beta test this, and they're extraordinary. They share such amazing stories of their own about what they're working on and what's changed as a result of seeing themselves and their wishes in a bigger light. So we're up to all kinds of stuff. We're brainstorming over there, master classes, posts all over the place. It's amazing.
Don't forget your podcast.
Oh, and the podcast, the Badassbabes podcast. I love that. And you must please be a guest. I love talking to badass women who are up to things in the world, and like you, what they've overcome and still do to keep being their badass selves.
Well, I'm excited. I would love to come on your podcast, and I feel like there's some future collaboration for us that is going to come as a result of this. I just get this feeling. So for people who are listening on the radio, please go to Badassbabes, just like it sounds, .com/get started. Now,
there's a hyphen in there, get dash started.
Oh, get dash started. Thank you. Jenifer, if people want to work with you as a coach, they go to another website, right?
Yeah, well, they can actually go to jen@badassbabes.com. If they're a woman that's just in a life coaching situation, there's jen@badassbabes.com. Even if you're an executive or an entrepreneur, you can get to me through that email, or jen@mindfulleaders.com. And
are you on other social media platforms where we can find you?
Yes. Instagram is mostly for Badass Babes. Although I do have a Jenifer Madson page. That was more of a personal page. Mostly on Facebook. I have a Facebook business page. And just started playing around with TikTok during COVID. That's a fun place to be.
I'm not on there. I was there for a little while, but I couldn't figure out what to do. So
right. I still don't know what the hell to do, but I still have 21,000 followers. And I'm like, why are you people following me? I do not understand this.
Did you make videos? You had to then.
Oh, yeah.
So
dancing, lip syncing, doing all
oh my gosh, I wish we could see them. I'm gonna have to go to TikTok and check it out.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go check it out. It literally was I hadn't even heard of it before COVID, and COVID came along and somebody goes, oh, you should check out TikTok. And I was so stressed out about the whole COVID thing anyway, that it was an escape. And then I thought, well, I could do videos. The next thing I knew, here we are.
So you're actually dancing in the video, like in your home?
Oh yeah. In my studio. This is like my dance studio over here.
Beautiful. So you're a dancer.
I've been a dancer since I was 5. Unfortunately, the addictions crushed my professional career. But then I got sober and got into my adult life and have done some ballroom dance competitions. And now I teach Zumba a few days a week just for fun, keep me in shape.
That's amazing. Do you do salsa?
Yeah. I do. Yeah.
Oh, Ben Shy, here's a salsa dancer for you. So Ben, who made the comment before, he's a salsa dancer. He's an international celebrity. You guys should salsa it up sometime.
do it. Come on down to Florida. We'll go salsa our brains out as soon as they open it up and it's safe.
So you like your preference is ballroom, is that right? Or do you do other types of dancing and salsa? Obviously?
I mean, I live down in Florida where there's all kinds of beach bars and bands that are playing throwback music where you just do some freestyle, shake it up kind of stuff. And I do love ballroom dance, when we're in an environment where I can compete. The last competition I was in was January a year ago. I won't go into competition again until, all the COVID stuff is safer, till it's a safer thing to do. But I love the competition stuff. And if I'm going to go to a club, I don't spend a lot of time in clubs, but if I'm going to a club, it's because I'm going to go salsa dancing.
Oh, that is fantastic. What's your name for TikTok? Are you just under your name or Badassbabes?
I think it's, what is my TikTok name? I think it's Badass. I'll go find it for you right now. Badass Babe Squad.
Okay, I'm going to check it out. I'm going to download the TikTok app again, and I'm going to find you. So this has been a total pleasure because this show is about hope, inspiration, overcoming adversity. You shared with us a major adversity that you overcame, and then you shared stories of hope and inspiration. So my thanks to you for being an ideal guest.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate being able to talk to you about all of this and having such an amazing conversation with you. You made it very easy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you. And again, please give your contact information for people listening.
Jen@mindfulleaders.com or Jen@badassbabes.com.
All right. So please reach out to her. She has been through maybe something that you are going through. She's built this incredible business. She just started another platform and she's on TikTok dancing. Okay, come on.
We're having a big time because you know what? Life is uncertain. Let's dance on TikTok.
I definitely agree. Well, thank you, my new friend. Thank you for being here today. I wish you a beautiful weekend and I'll stay in touch.
Thank you. You as well. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh my gosh, she is just wonderful. I hope wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you are networking, you are connecting with people like Jenifer. If you are sitting at home watching television, that's great. Just do it for a certain amount of time, but please reach out to people on social media, connect, go to support groups. I actually run 2 support groups myself for people with ulcerative colitis. Just whatever it is that you are doing, take a look at your life and how could you grow? How can you learn? How can you change someone else's life by giving back and helping them? It feels so good to give back. And how can you take care of the environment? I made a commitment that I've been drinking Evian water out of plastic bottles for years, and I've decided I am no longer going to be doing that because it is not good for the environment. I'm going to have a regular glass of water so I can see my lipstick. So that's all for today. We have another program coming up right around the clock. It's 20 minutes from now, and that's the variety show. We have Lori Mendelson, who is my co-host, and our guest is an anthropologist, and her name is Roberta. I can't say her last name because with a B. I don't want to say it the wrong way, but all you have to do is stay right where you are, and we will be right back. Thank you so much. We will see you again very soon. Take care.